All right, guys, welcome into Total Bases. It is Friday morning. I'm here with Tokyo Brandon, Bryan Leonard, free pick Major League Baseball show on WagerTalk TV. As you guys know that have been watching for the next hour, you guys control the show. We work out of the chat questions. So if you want a game, jump in the chat. It's Friday night over in Japan, so TV's got his fireball ready to go. And if you want to talk about a game, just jump in the chat, request it, and we will try to do our best to get to them all within the next hour. As always, we've got a full slate. It's Friday, which means everyone is playing. And we're also going to debut something fun today. It's called the Total Bases Parlay. At some point throughout the show, each of us will fire out a parlay leg. Maybe we'll even all agree on one and have a consensus one. The goal is to get to the end of the show with a 3, 4, maybe even 5-teamer. We'll see how crazy we're getting. And then we'll track it, see how good we do. Something fun. Don't go crazy on it, but I think it'll be a good time. I may even go into the chat and throw a poll up. I don't know. Like I said, it's Friday. TB's got the fireball flowing. So without further ado, let's get into it. We've got my guy Aaron Pauling is in the chat, and he is writing a paragraph here. So I want to get him up. Good morning, fellas. I want to throw an interesting trend out there that I came across the other day. All right. This season, home favorites between -130 and -200 facing a team below 500 or 510 are 32-0 straight up when the total is between 7.5 and 8.5. That is some serious work, my guy. But that's
and
awesome.
Wednesday, Wednesday,
listen,
12 o'clock.
He's got a 32-0 sample, so it's worth talking about for sure. They have won these games by an average of 3.0 runs per game. The average line for the system is -161. The trend is active on the Mariners and the Astros today. So there we go. Those are our first two games. Let's go. Let's start with the Mariners. And I've got to get my screens in order here. I clicked live and I didn't have all the games up. So shame on me. But we got, okay. So yeah, we have Mariners. And of course, we have new series today, so I'm all messed up. But we've got Mariners, Blue Jays. That's going to be Kevin Gausman. And finally, I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, we are now down to one Luis Castillo on the Mariners. Thank God. Okay, because the other one was traded to the Orioles. So now we don't have two Luis Castillos on the same team anymore. The Luis Castillo that you guys all know and love, the one that's been around forever, is on the mound for the Mariners tonight. So I'll stop talking. I'm sure I'm there. I've been talking for 2.5 minutes, which I'll probably get in trouble for. But we'll head to Bryan Leonard, Mariners, Blue Jays. Let's get it started. And what do you think about Aaron Pauling's trend?
We'll start off with not only did they play on the same team, they played the same position, which was worse because they were starting pitchers. It sounds like I'm having a conversation with Mark Lawrence. We all love Mark Lawrence, but he always searches for these undefeated systems. And once you get past two priorities, like he did the 510, well, that doesn't make sense. It should have been 500. Just things like that. So it's great, and I hope he wins, but it's not something that I use. If you're backdating your information and going, you'll find randomly these type of things, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Now, it does mean stuff to other people. Like I said, Mark Lawrence uses it. Ralph Michaels will once in a while throw out something like that. It's interesting. I don't know if it wins going forward, but it's something to talk about. And, we're a talk show here, so we're trying to figure it out. As for the game, my only play yesterday was the Toronto Blue Jays, a 4% play, and that was a nice winner for us. I would go back with Toronto right now. Toronto's playing pretty good ball, and I like the way they're playing. Gausman, overall, 3.83 ERA, 0.93 whip. And if you take a look at expected ERA, he's at 3.7. So it's legit, his ERA, what he's doing there. And he's doing it in a pretty good hitting division. You take a look at his pitching run value, 96th percentile, fastball run value, 95th percentile, off-speed run value, 84th percentile. So the team is starting to hit, and you've got a guy on there that's been pitching very well as of late. So that's part of why I would like Toronto. Also, Castillo, if you take a look at his numbers on the StatCast, there's a lot of blue. In fact, his extension, and there's not nothing you can do about your extension, but his extension is in the first percentile, which means by the time he lands and releases that baseball, it gets to the plate slower than any other person in baseball. So they got plenty of time to react, which is why his whiff percentage is only the 26th percentile, strikeout percentage in the 27th percentile for a guy who just 2 years ago struck out 219 batters in 197 innings. This year, he's only struck out 30 in 38.1. Coming into the season, I was looking to fade Luis Castillo, and he comes in with a 1.33 whip. And finally, it's a situation for myself where I want Toronto to play here. Seattle coming back home. They've been very good on the road. We talked about this before. They're number one or whatever. Let me take a look once you get updated. WRC Plus. Seattle's number 2 behind the Yankees on WRC Plus, but a lot of that has been on the road. This is a bad hitting ballpark. I think there's value on Toronto.
Bryan kind of stole a lot of my thunder there. I kind of agree with him on most of what he said. I was on Toronto yesterday too, so I was happy to cash that one. So yeah, Gausman's numbers are great, especially his walks to strikeout ratio. I like Toronto's bullpen a little more current form. And Castillo is not the pitcher he was 3 years ago. He used to be one of those guys who would pitch 7 innings of one earned run ball and 8 strikeouts like constantly, but he's just not that anymore. The only thing that worries me are the bats. Toronto's bats started to heat up, but I still have them ranked quite a bit below Seattle. Seattle's been raking, but like Bryan said, this is a pitcher park. So if Gausman can control those bats, I think Toronto would be the way to go here. I haven't played it yet, though.
My numbers very much like the Blue Jays. I should have came back with them last night. I'm kicking myself for that. I lost with the Blue Jays on Wednesday. A horrible collapse, blew a 4-1 lead. But yesterday they were able to come back, win the game, which I knew they would the second I didn't bet it. So I'm happy for Bryan that he won. And they got through that last couple innings. I think it was Yario Rodriguez, maybe one other guy. So the bullpen's in decent shape. Jeff Hoffman, a guy that grew up in the town over from me. So I've been watching him since high school. I've been really impressed with him at the back end of games like the Jays. I actually think the Jays bullpen's very underrated based on the fact that last year they were so bad. By far the worst bullpen in the American League last year, I think, statistically, and for most of the season. And they've actually, the Garcia-Hoffman combo at the end has actually been pretty good. So I think if given the chance that he'd bounce back, I'm with you guys. I think Blue Jays show some value on the money line. Plus 120, plus 125, definite value there. Not sure if it'll make my card, but definite value there. And I don't want to discount. Aaron may very well be onto something. It's a great, I love to see that stuff. And Mark Lawrence has been around for like 100 years with that kind of stuff. So, maybe there's something to it, but I don't know if I would lay the Mariners at that current price. Let's go to G Hurt, who agrees with him on his other leg. He said, Aaron, I'm all over the Astros today. So we kind of brought up the Astros on, I believe it was Wednesday. I think you ended up hitting a 5%er in that game after it was all said and done on Wednesday. Is that correct? With the Astros over? So they kind of finished that road trip on a beautiful. They kind of finished that road trip on a strong note. Now they head home. I know I have a feeling Brian Leonard's going to agree with this one because his guy Hunter Brown is on the mound for the Astros tonight. So we'll start with Brian. Reds, Astros. Are you with G Hurt and Aaron calling on this one?
Yeah, I'm liking the Astros side, and I'm surprised it hasn't been bet up a little bit. I guess it's pretty high when you consider the strength of the Cincinnati team. They're a good baseball team, playing about 500 baseball. But Brown's a guy that I'm always looking forward to play on the mound if I can get a reasonable price. Martinez last time out was very good. He was the guy coming into the season that I thought very highly of. His exit velocity, 88.5, hard hit percent, 36.2. He doesn't walk a lot of guys at 6.9. So he's also a pitcher that I liked early in the season, but he did struggle a lot this year. His extensions, 13th percentile ground ball rate, 14th percentile. That'll get him in trouble when he's pitching in Cincinnati. And if he gives up some pulled balls, obviously, in the Crawford boxes here in Houston. I like Houston in this one. I'm not a big fan of laying big numbers, but I need to find a way to get on the Houston side because I believe that is the correct side in this one.
I would go with that as well. Kind of alarming in my rankings, though. I have Houston's bullpen ranked pretty low, including current form. They might have a lot of talent there, but they're not performing well right now. So I have Cincinnati's bullpen higher than Houston. But batting, I have Houston quite a bit higher. And let me take a look here. My starting pitcher rankings. Yeah, I have Hunter Brown currently ranked number 1 of all starting pitchers. So he's definitely got the edge here. I'm not a Nick Martinez fan. I haven't liked him since he pitched in Japan. So I would go with Houston, but the bullpen worries me. Maybe a first 5, but it's about minus 166, I believe. I don't like laying a half run in the first 5. I always get burned when I do that. So the only way I would go would be Houston first 5 here.
Bryan, Aaron Pauling is offering a couple of ways to play Houston. Astros -1, only -125. That sounds pretty good. You could go Reds team total under, or maybe a first 5 under. What do you think about any of those?
I wouldn't have a problem with any of those. The first 5 under is okay. The full game under I don't want, because if you take a look at the Cincinnati bullpen, they've got 3, 4, 5 guys. The best 5 guys have pitched a lot lately. 2 out of the 3 days for all of them, and it's all been high pitch counts. Pagan, the closer, Tuesday blew a save throwing 20 pitches. On Wednesday threw 22. Santillan 23 and 27. Ashcraft, who had been very good all season long, has given up 26 pitches and 25 pitches, and Rogers 17 and 10. So they might be very limited in their bullpen today, which probably means they're probably going to need more innings out of the starter. And as we know, a lot of these guys, especially for him, because he's bounced back from the starting rotation and the bullpen, he's kind of limited on getting to 5 innings. He'd be happy to get to 5 innings. If that's the situation, Houston should be able to take advantage of this, what I considered a Cincinnati bullpen that on the season has been pretty good, but coming into this game, they've got major problems.
And I don't trust Houston's bullpen either right now.
That's I love Hunter Brown. You wouldn't. I don't think you'd get me opposing him at this point. Again, I don't. I do think Aaron's suggestion maybe with the -1 is okay. Yeah. But I wouldn't be betting against him. I do believe he's going to be in the mix for that AL Cy Young, and that's just not someone I want to go against. So it would be Astros or pass for me. Good morning to Ethan Bainbridge in the chat, and we'll go to this game. From a Latham, New York native in Jeff Hoffman to a Clay, New York native in Patrick Corbin. Listen, the upstate New York area does not put many guys in the big leagues. I can probably name them off. But that is my guy, Patrick Corbin, on the mound. I agree. I know who's pitching. I know you've got Scooble Corbin, and you can make that parallel all day long as to why the number is as big as it is. But when you take those names out and you just say Rangers, Tigers, this looks like a very, very big number. I almost fell out of my chair when I saw the Rangers were over a $2 favorite against the Tigers team that had to play a doubleheader yesterday, that has to come back from Coors Field. I get it. It's Scooble, it's Corbin, but that is a very, very big number. Rangers +1.5 as of right now is even money. And that's, of course, you're getting the road team get the extra at bat. Again, if you can get past who's on the mound here, how can you not consider the Rangers at that price? We'll start with Bryan.
There's a reason why you went to me on that one, because I'm in agreement. The Tigers, as you mentioned, not only played in Colorado this last series, They played a doubleheader yesterday and now have to travel. And I've talked about this before when Major League Baseball teams leave Colorado and the Rockies. There's a reason why when the Rockies go on the road, it's almost an automatic bet against them because they're going from the altitude in Colorado, going out to normal altitude everywhere else. And that's got to be a concern for Detroit here. They just played all these games in Colorado. The offense looked fantastic. A lot of teams are going to look good in Colorado hitting. Now they got to go on the road. They've got their best pitcher going from a standpoint of a teammate. You're thinking, well, this one's in the bag. We're playing at home with the Cy Young winner, our best pitcher. We just killed everybody else from a mental standpoint. And a lot of people don't talk about the mental standpoint in baseball because you're not doing as much traveling as you do in other sports. The mental aspect really is negative here for Detroit. Now, I will say they dominated that series so well. All the bullpen arms are in good shape. Vest pitched 30 pitches on Wednesday, did not pitch yesterday. So, yes, the line is where it is, and it's because of the starting pitchers, no doubt about it. But, as much as TB and I have talked about our reluctance to play the Texas pitcher Corbin, he's actually having a pretty nice season. As you pointed out, I believe on the first show, you thought he was going to be a lot better this year because he's out of that losing environment in Washington, and he's playing for a team that has talent. Texas made some changes in their. They fired the hitting coach. They got rid of their center fielder and brought up another one that's a younger guy. I may find myself on Texas plus this 1.5.
First of all, am I the only person that thinks it's weird that the Astros are in the American League? They should be in the National, shouldn't they? I don't know. Seems weird to me for some odd reason.
They used to be, TB. Yeah. Back in the day, they were NL Central. They moved to
maybe that's why it feels weird to me. Maybe I'm just old and senile. But I'm going to disagree with you guys on this one. I think these guys are used to traveling. They actually like traveling. I've been around these guys before. They love to go on the road and get away from their families. So, but you're right. Detroit did play played a doubleheader, and then they played another game yesterday. So, yeah, there might be a little bit of fatigue there, perhaps. But Texas, I have them hitting 20 out of 30 teams, and I have their bullpen ranked 19 out of 20 teams in current form. Tariq Skubal, he's pretty much got the best walk to strikeout ratio in all of Major League Baseball. He's a stud. I have him ranked number 2 on a curve of 30. So I don't want to take, I certainly would not take Texas to win or even a plus 1.5. What I would do, though, is maybe take a Texas team total under. DraftKings, I'm not sure about FanDuel. I always get my lines from DraftKings, but DraftKings lets you actually do alt team totals. So maybe alt their team total to 4 or 5.5 to the under, and then parlay it with something else is maybe what I'll do. I'll mess with the numbers later on. But if you take Texas's team total under, then you don't have to worry about how Detroit performs. Like you said, they might be a little fatigued right now. But if you take Texas's team total under, then you don't have to worry about that.
Let me ask you this, TB, and you can chime in here too after Bryan if you want. You talked about these guys like being on the road. I do agree to an extent. I don't think it's as big of a deal being on the road. They travel in style. It's I wouldn't disagree with that. But I want to ask you, when you go away for a week, let's say you go on vacation with your family or you're out of town for like 10 days, that first day home always sucks, and I think that's almost the better angle. It's like you're out of town for a week and a half, you come home, there's a stack of bills on the calendar, there's 18 different things that you've been putting off that you didn't do. Now you get home, no travel day, which means they get home last night. You got to deal with all this bullshit, and you have to play a baseball game the same night. I've always looked at that as like the better sort of travel angle, right? You're gone for 2 weeks, no off day. Now you're home. You've got all this stuff in your personal life you got to take care of, and you still have to play a baseball game tonight. So it almost makes me like that setup makes me like the Rangers more. Have you experienced any of that in your sort of dealings with players and whatnot?
Yes. And also in the capping world, a team off a long road trip, when they come home, they're very stale when they it's just unpacking your suitcase. I mean, these guys are human beings. Like you said, they unpack the suitcase. They got to spend time with the dog. They got to play with their kids, they're back home. So yeah, teams are flat in the first game back home off a road trip. Absolutely no doubt about it. Would you agree, Brian?
I would agree. And Mark, I've thrown out names of some of my friends, but Marco D'Angelo has done that for years in sports. He's always looking at the first game back and trying to fade them. Then he likes to play their second game back, and that's one of the things he's done for years. I don't know Marco's winning percentage on him, but I know he continues to play them, so I'm assuming they win. So it's something I've always been taught that you said they like to get away from the family. Well, now they're coming back to the family, and it's not always such a good thing as was mentioned. Hey, Jimmy's been out, and look what Jimmy's doing, and the whole no father wants to deal with that.
Think about it. If us three were to take like a road trip, it'd be a lot more fun than staying at home, right? So I mean, these guys are human. They want to
think about the shit we would be in when we got home. Mallory had me doing all sorts of stuff. I would be ready to play a ball game
because my wife finds out I'm out with the pimp, and
right. Exactly. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna wrap this one up, but you mentioned Corbin, Brian. Yeah, I talked about Corbin not only being out of the losing environment, but also being out of a rotation where he followed two other left-handed starters. I thought that put him in a horrible spot last year. He's now the only, at least a week ago, I know Rangers have had some movement in the pitching. I'm pretty sure he's the only lefty starter in that rotation. They may have had someone else in the mix, but I think even with Leiter back, that's another right-handed starter. So I'm pretty sure he's the only left-handed pitcher in that rotation. And then it's just more of a culture of winning. We talked about this earlier in the week. The Rangers have shaked things up a little bit. They got rid of Tavares. They brought some other guys up. I still think the Rangers are on the cusp of a little bit of a run here. They're 18-20 right now. I fully expect this to be above 500 team. So I am going to throw out the first leg of the parlay. My leg will be Rangers plus 1.5, even money. Me and Ethan Bainbridge are going with, he likes the money line, which I wouldn't put anyone off. First leg of the total basis parlay, my leg for the show, Rangers plus 1.5. I'll take the run. You are getting, listen, that when you can get, it's very rare. It is very rare that you can get. So the way the books price these plus 1.5s, they know that you would rather have the road team with the plus 1.5 because it just gives you more chances to win. You get the extra at bat, you get to the ninth inning tied and they walk it off. Unless it's a home run, you win. You get to extra innings and they walk it off. Unless it's a home run with more than one guy on base, they win. You almost never find quality ball clubs in this position where they're not juiced to the moon, right? Where they're not minus 1.5 or plus 1.5, like minus 135. The Rangers are a quality ball club. I did a show with MGM yesterday. Or I'm sorry, no, it was our show. It was the WagerTalk Today show. Andy Lang was like, do you buy the Tigers? And I was like, well, I'd rather have the Rangers at 20-1 in the AL than the Tigers at like 12 or 15-1. I still feel that way. I still think long-term the Rangers are a better all-around ball club. I think that the Tigers have gotten off to a great start. I don't trust the Tigers lineup fully. So I'll go Rangers plus 1.5. That's my parlay leg. Thank you guys for the questions. I thought that was a good discussion though. And we covered a lot of things other than just the game right there. So that was good, but we will move on. Let's go to Smokey. Thoughts on Diamondbacks Dodgers over 9.5. I got to be honest. I was surprised this one didn't go over last night, especially with the Arizona scoring the way they did. I thought the Dodgers, that was a really odd game. The Diamondbacks took a ton of money yesterday, which I did not agree with. I even stated on a show, I was like, why are people betting Arizona here? I thought Brandon Pfaadt was maybe due for a little bit of his numbers didn't totally impress me. I thought the Dodgers would have generated more offense. It was actually Arizona that generated the majority of the offense, but they held the Dodgers off at the end. And that's something I think you want to look at. This might be a good angle when Arizona has a lead They've got to somehow survive those last couple innings with the bullpen in the situation they're in. What happens the next day? Because the last time they had to do that, the next day, I believe, was a 7-1 loss to the Mets. They survived last night against the Dodgers, what we arguably the best team in baseball. How do they respond tonight? So Smokey wants to know about the over, but we'll go to you first, TB, then we'll go to Bryan. What do you think? Dodgers, Diamondbacks, total side. What do you got?
Sure. I'm starting to wonder why Max Muncy is still in the major leagues. The Dodgers have a great 1, 2, 3, 4, but now Teoscar Hernandez is gone, Edman is gone, and their entire 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is just void of any power. I mean, Pages can crank one once in a while, but I think their 5 through 9 are all hitting under 200. It's really underwhelming. Considering how much talent they have. Okay, Kim was added. He's hitting over 300, but he's only got 10 at bats. So I don't, or maybe 12 at bats. So you can't really count that. But Dodgers have the much better bullpen. And the Dodgers are still ranked higher in hitting according to my rankings. But yeah, Sasaki is alarming. He's alarmingly inconsistent. This goes back to how I've talked about Japanese pitchers in their first year. You know, they got to get used to the new texture of the ball and the different size of the ball. Just like Yamamoto last year was unstable. Sasaki's going to see more bumps along the way this year. So it's hard to trust him. I'm not going back to the Dodgers in this one. I'm going to stay away from this game. Eduardo Rodriguez, I actually do not like him as a pitcher, and I have him ranked 19 out of 30 on a curve, but he doesn't walk people. So he's a very concise pitcher. And he strikes out quite a few people. So my numbers hate him, but I'm kind of thinking maybe he's not as bad as I thought. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to play this game.
I may end up playing this game, and I may use this as my part of my parlay here. Let me talk this out, and if it sounds as good coming out as it does in my head, I think I might be on this. Suzuki's had nothing but trouble so far in the majors. His extension is in the 93rd percentile, fastball velocity in the 80th percentile, but nothing else. He's done nothing with it. So the ball's getting right on the batters very quickly with his 93rd percentile extension. And yet his chase rate is in the 3rd percentile. His walk rate is in the 5th percentile. Expected ERA in the 13th percentile. He comes in with a 3.86 ERA, but the expected ERA is 5.52. I want no part of him. But as TB talked about, big bullpen edge here for the Dodgers. From a hitting standpoint, as you pointed out, they're missing some key players, and they have other guys, as you pointed out, that in the past have been good, and they're off to terrible starts. This lineup for the Dodgers is good as their best players are. Their back guys are bad. They're not very good at all. When you spend as much money as they did on the pitching staff, I can't believe they didn't do it more for the hitters. So when you only have 4 guys in this lineup that you have to worry about, you can kind of pitch around them a little bit as the game goes on, as you know you're not going to be beat by those guys at the bottom of the order. And then on the other side, you know, money's come in on this game for a reason. They come in on Arizona because Rodriguez has had a nicer season. He doesn't look that way while looking at his ERA is 5.92, WHIP 1.47, but his expected ERA is 3.43. His average exit velocity is in the 79th percentile. His hard hit rate's in the 81st percentile. The strikeout rate in the 76th. So this is a guy, he's pitching much better than what his numbers show. He started the year very well, then he got bombed in one game. But this is a guy coming back from surgery. He's looked very good out there. And I think I'm going to play, and you can put this one down. I'm going to play the first 5 innings. So that way I can avoid that Arizona bullpen. I'm looking out there, it goes from anywhere to from minus 120 to 130. So put me down at 125. Minus 125 on Arizona in the first 5 with Rodriguez against Sasaki.
All right. I can't disagree with that. Listen, like I said, I pointed out last night, like Arizona took a lot of money. I didn't necessarily agree with it, but only because I felt like I was real concerned. I saw some blue on that Savant page that I thought was going to get exposed at some point. But like you said, I felt like that was a layup last night for the Dodgers to be able to score a few runs, and they really just couldn't. They weren't scoring. Now, to go back to Smokey's question and answer his question, I do think the over is worth a look. I do think, and this is also why I don't mind what Bryan's doing with the first 5. I think Arizona is going to, because even last night they had there was a really nice play by Ketel Marte to turn a double play that kept the third Dodger run off the board in the 8th inning. He went in the hole, fired an absolute dart, and they turned an inning-ending double play that if they didn't, would have made it 5-3. I think Arizona's going to have to hold on for dear life at the end of some of these games. I think that's going to make your full game totals have maybe a little bit more value, but I don't mind Bryan's play here. So we've got the second leg of our parlay. We now have Rangers plus 1.5, Diamondbacks first 5 money line, and we'll get one from TB before the show is over, of course. TB, did you have anything else to add on this one, or can we move along?
You can put my third leg of the parlay up, or should I save it for the end?
Save it for the end. This is not.
Gotcha.
We're save it for the end. Unless it's come up already, you save it. Unless it's come up already, you save it. We're.
I have no other comments on the Diamondbacks game.
All right, we're moving on. We're moving on to the Adam Trigger Bowl right here, if there ever was one. White Sox Marlins.
Oh.
I got to be honest. I love Max Meyer. He's my guy. There is zero chance I'd play him or the Marlins as this big of a favorite. Like this is what happens with some of these teams. The Marlins are not a winning baseball team. Now we talk about on this show liking a team relative to where they are in the market, right? Like I like the Marlins relative to where the market has them. That's why I've been high on the Marlins this year. Where I don't have any interest in the Marlins is when they're now a road favorite, because I still don't think they're like a winning baseball team. I think they're just better than the market has them priced. I have been a little concerned with Meyer his last couple times out. There's been pitches out over the plate. I'm not saying he's not the real deal, but he definitely has. He's definitely pitched himself into some trouble. And then, I noticed, so I got very fortunate in his last start. That was the game that Kyle Stowers hit the walk-off grand slam, but Meyer didn't really pitch that well at all. And he challenged some A's hitters. They were up to the task in that game. And if you go back to the start before, so were the Mariners. So what you have here now is Meyer going on the road, but he's stepping down considerably. Maybe he goes out and just mauls the White Sox. I don't know if I could bet on that, though. What do you think, Bryan?
I'm in agreement. He's just not being as accurate as he was before. He was really painting the corners earlier in the season. He's lost some of that accuracy, which really brings down my confidence in playing on him. They have gone 6-6 for the last 12 games, so they're playing the better ball. Is I think Chicago's 2-10. But I don't want to lay. I don't want to have Miami win this game on the road at that price. This is a game that I won't get involved in.
Fully agree. I ran my numbers. I don't have a matchup today that's more dead even than this one. So they're getting way too much. That line is ridiculous. If anything, take the White Sox plus, but I wouldn't do that either. So
now I want to make something clear. Like my numbers very much like the Marlins here. I think if you're looking at this game matchup, just forget about where the game is being played. Looking at Marlins against White Sox, there's no question. I think the Marlins are the right side. Max Meyer versus Bryce Wilson, Marlins versus White Sox, Marlins all day. It's just the hard thing is like this is still a very young. The advantage you have with the Marlins is the fact that they're young and they don't know better, right? They're young, they're scrappy. A lot of these guys just got called up. We don't really know what the ceiling is for some of these guys. That's the edge I think you have with them. I think that edge dissipates when you now are a minus 150 favorite on the road, because the same way you can kind of like not know any better and walk it off against Mason Miller, you can easily go out and lose to a team like the White Sox on the road. That's why I have kind of no interest with them at this price, but I am not making a case for the White Sox here. I would not be betting against the Marlins in this situation. All right, let's go down. We got Markins in the chat, says, He kind of points out, can anyone believe that was the real Yamamoto last night? Had to be an imposter. I expected a little bit better from him. G Hurt says, real Catholic would be a Sox fan, but it seems like he's a follower. So going Cubs fan, and he's of course talking about the Pope that was picked yesterday. I guess it was a big deal. I don't know. I don't follow the Pope news that much, but I guess it was a big deal. All right, let's go to.
Let me say one thing about Yamamoto, if I can. This will just take 10 seconds, but he had one bad pitch. Yeah, he loaded the bases, but if he hadn't given that home run up, what did he give up? One earned run. Right. I mean, come on, give him a break.
Right. I mean, he was right to challenge. I think it was, who was it? The catcher Moreno that hit the home run. Like I think it was his first home run of the year. So he was right. He was right to go after him. I mean, what do you got? Kind of tip your cap right there.
Yeah, I mean, he did load the bases, which was his bad. But if that wasn't, I mean, we can say ifs, ands, and buts all day. But if that wasn't a home run, he gave up one earned run yesterday.
Yeah, so. I would agree with that.
That was more than 10 seconds.
All right, we are going.
For management.
This will be a 10-second intro, though.
Treat me like Adam.
This will be a 10-second intro, because we're going right to our Guardians guy. Phillies, Guardians, right to Bryan Leonard. Markinson wants to know, does Nola have a repeat performance of his last start, or was it a fluke?
Oh, 10 seconds.
You're going to me on this one, I take it?
Yeah. Sorry, going to you.
I was on Nola in the last game. I thought he was undervalued. I still think he's undervalued. You take a look at his expected ERA. It's at 4.24, which is lower than what his 4.61 is. His whip's been a little bit high this year. His fastball velocity, he lived on that for a while, and now it's in the 9th percentile. So he's not going to beat you with the fastball, but he's a veteran that's been out there. This is his 11th season. He's pitched 1,662 innings. This is a guy that's going to make adjustments. His chase percentage in the 92nd percentile, extension 84th. I like him. I think this Philadelphia team, along with Nola, are a team I'm looking to bet on right now. And it also helps when Gavin Williams is on the mound for Cleveland. This is a guy, his extension is in the 90th percentile. His fastball velocity is in the 88th percentile. Yet he continues to struggle with control. He's in the 9th percentile of walks. He puts too many people on base. His whip coming into this game, ladies and gentlemen, is 1.75, 5.06 ERA. His expected ERA is 5.81. I follow preseason baseball, and they made some adjustments in the preseason. He looked fantastic. Once he's got to the regular season, he has been terrible. I'm really surprised he's still in the rotation. It could be that this will be the last time he is in the rotation. They've got some guys down in the minors that are pitching better. They could bring them up. He may be better as just a reliever, because he's got all the talent in the world. As big as he is, 6'6", 250 pounds. He's just got a starter's build, but he hasn't put it together. I don't want any part of this Cleveland team. I talked about the offense before. They're really struggling offensively. Two quality hitters, maybe three. Santana's having another decent year for him. So those are guys that you could pitch around, and Philadelphia has that ability. Philadelphia's lineup is not one that you could pitch around, guys, and I think they're going to get in trouble here. Williams walking some of those guys. I see Philadelphia doing a really good job offensively today.
TB, we have a chat comment, and then I'll let you respond to it. G Hurt to Markins in the chat says, I wanted to play Cleveland, but I think Nola shoves today, and it's one of those weird Phillies days where Castellanos goes yard for a 3-run bomb or something like that. I didn't see any tragedy in the news or anything bad happen. So I don't know where, I don't know if you can get on a Castellanos homer like that.
I heard the Republicans weren't happy about the Pope choice. I don't know what the hell that means, but maybe that's what it is.
I'm just hey, we got an American Pope. How about that? I didn't, again,
awesome.
I didn't know that was a big deal either, but apparently it is. So go USA, winning the Pope battle, I suppose. But TV, this battle between the Phillies and the Guardians, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I had Philly yesterday, and if you followed that game, I feel very lucky to have won that game. They were losing the whole game, and just at the end, they took it at the end, so I was pretty happy about that. But I knew that Tampa's bullpen would collapse because they've been playing horribly lately. Didn't expect the starter to be that good, but I did expect the bullpen to implode, which they did, so I won. I'm a little leery today about Philly because they had a late game. They had an emotional comeback win, and I think they might come out a little flat here. But looking at my numbers, they're obviously the better team. Nola's obviously the better starting pitcher. Have Philly ranked number 4 in all of Major League Baseball right now in hitting. Nola's got the better walk ratio. He's got the better numbers. He's got the better whip. He's got the better experience. And Philly's bullpen, which had been their Achilles heel in years past, and even at the beginning of this season, is now, I have them ranked 5th right now in current form. So everything points Philly's way here. The line is a good number too. I think maybe the bookmakers are probably thinking what I'm thinking is a late game, emotional win, come back from behind. They might come out flat. It's possible, but talent always trumps conditions. In other words, you can say they're traveling a lot. You can say they played late last night. They had a doubleheader yesterday, but talent always trumps that. So just keep that in mind. I would go Philly here. There's no other way you can go, I think.
Yeah, my numbers show an edge to the Phillies, but we'll continue on. Mike Scott says, notice the Dodgers aren't profitable in the first 5. Well, Brian Leonard's leg of the total basis parlay that we'll have rounded out over the next 20 minutes or so. He likes Diamondbacks first 5 money line. That would support that. Aaron says, Brian, I gotta say, I'd like to know
their first 5 numbers with Sasaki on the mound. Is probably even worse.
Yeah, for sure. Says he loves hearing you just discuss StatCast pitching metrics. Dayton, I believe this is Dayton's first comment in the chat, so welcome in, and you're never interrupting. I actually, TB, did you watch the Hanwha Kiwoom game this morning? Crazy choke by Kiwoom. I actually slept in because all the other games got rained out. I haven't even gone back and looked. I'll have to go look at that.
I didn't play KBO today, but Kiwoom's bullpen is horrible. And Hanwha, actually, they're the biggest under team in the KBO. So they got a great bullpen. So it's not surprising they came back, but I didn't play it.
So it looks like Hanwha won that game 7-5. I gotta go watch. The nice part about KBO, so where we are or where I am, 5:30 a.m. If I don't have a play, often I will just like the Soup app, SOOP, where you can watch the KBO games. They're all on demand. They're easy. They're easy to fast forward through. So I
use
just
the same one.
I'll watch all like if I don't watch them in a given day, like I can almost like sort of bang them out in like an hour and a half. Watch all 5 games really quickly. So I'll have to go check that out. I didn't even see that this morning because I didn't have a play. All right, Titan CT, our guy that's always here. Let's see, Tokyo. Bello for the Sox been throwing since he came up. Where do you rank him on your curve? I don't think he's not pitching today, but we'll talk about Reds. Someone else asked about Red Sox.
Yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So TB, why don't we do this? Let's start with you. If you want to answer Titan CT's question about the Red Sox or about Bello, you can. But let's parlay that into Dobbins, Lorenz, and Red Sox Royals tonight.
Okay, sure. I answered him in the chat. I have Bayo ranked 20, I believe, out of 30 on the curve. So breaking down today's game, this is kind of a tough one, but actually I have the Royals favored in almost every category except starting pitching. But it's really tight. I said the White Sox game was the White Sox Miami game was the tightest cap. Well, this is the second tightest cap. I have these teams pretty much neck and neck. It's kind of strange because I have Dobbins. My numbers love Dobbins, but I don't really. I haven't eye tested him, so I don't really know much about him. I don't know if I can trust my numbers that he's this good, but he's not walking anyone, which is a good sign. Both bullpens really in good form. So, and both lineups are in good form as well, run producing. So it's too tight for me. I'm not going to play this, but I'd love to hear what you guys know about Dobbins that I don't know.
Well, I got to point out a comment in the chat. I'll go to Bryan. We have G Hurt says pitchers with Hunter are a huge bet on this year. And then I realized he's talking about, of course, Hunter Brown, who we've already talked about, who I think could win the Cy Young. Hunter Green having a fantastic year. Tough that he had to lead that start earlier the other day because he's been throwing the ball incredible. I don't know that Hunter Dobbins is in that same category with the other two Hunters, but I guess it has been a good year for Hunters. He earned himself a call up. He earned himself another start in this game. So we'll go to Bryan Leonard. Hunter Dobbins, Red Sox. What do we think?
Yeah, I'd help these if you're taking the other team that the Hunter doesn't kill your team. But yeah, they brought him up. He looked good in the minors, and he's done very well for the Red Sox. I'd prefer him much over Buehler if they keep Buehler extended time down in the minors. It's probably might be better for the Red Sox. As Hunter Dobbins has really shown up well. 92nd percentile in chase percentage, 91st in barrel percentage. Not a big strikeout guy. He's only got 13 strikeouts in 16.2 innings. That's the 23rd percentile there. But he's looked really good so far. I've been very impressed by him. I've mentioned in the past that I play some high-level fantasy baseball, and he was a guy that a lot of people wanted to bid on this week. So there's a lot of people out there that really like Hunter Dobbins. He's 6'2", 185 pounds. This is his rookie season and in the majors, and he's looked really well. Michael Lorenzen's a guy that I consider more of an innings eater. His extension's in the 8th percent, which is terrible. In fact, really, he's not outstanding at anything. He's got a pretty good breaking ball. He's in the 77th percentile in breaking ball run value, but he comes in with a 4.23 ERA, 1.41 WHIP. Expected ERA is in the same boat, 4.33. He will give you innings, and he's a fighter out there. But if I was to put money on this game, I think the clear starting pitcher advantage is the young guy in Dobbins, and the price seems fair. You're looking at it right now, and it's basically a pick'em situation. If I was to take a look at these teams on the full season, I'd have them rated both teams probably to win 85 games, 85 in that range, 85, 87. And Boston's doing it in what you would consider to be the better division. Although right now in the Central, all the teams other than the White Sox are on fire. The Twins are only a couple games under 500 now, as bad as they started the season. So Kansas City's playing the better ball right now, but I think there's a little bit of value here on Dobbins.
All right, let's go to Slick Vic. He just throws it out there. Pirates money line, and Bailey Falter comes up on every single show. I feel like this guy pitches more than once every 5th day because I feel like every time we do a show, Bailey Falter is on the mound somehow. It looks like he's on the mound tonight for the Pirates. I saw that was unlisted earlier, but I think am I right about that? He's pitching tonight for the Pirates?
Yep.
Man, I don't know. I'm not a Bryce Elder guy. I all for fading Elder, especially after I think he had a pretty good outing last time out. But I don't know if I can get there with the Pirates money line. This team is just a bad baseball team. Then again, coming from the person that thinks it's fine to bet on the Rockies multiple times in a week. So maybe you shouldn't be asking me. So let's go ask Tokyo Brandon. Pirates.
Patrick. Go ahead.
Yeah. That's okay. No, you can say that. The guy who likes Patrick Corbin, who's been phenomenal so far this year, all things considered. But Pirates money line, Slick Vic. Do you agree or disagree, TB? Pirates money line. What do we think?
I think you need to check the definition of the word phenomenal.
Phenomenal relative to market. Phenomenal relative to what the market has.
He's been extremely mediocre, which by expectations is really good for him.
Yes.
But yeah, phenomenal for him. So this is a tough game. At first sight, Bryce Elder to me is an auto fade because he's been so bad. Falter's mediocre. So compared to bad, mediocre's pretty good, if you understand that English. The problem is Atlanta's bullpen is so much better than Pittsburgh's. So Tough to play. Both clubs are not really swinging very well. I actually have Pittsburgh ranked last current form in hitting, but I have Atlanta under 20, so I have them ranked 21 out of 30 in recent form. Atlanta obviously is more talented, so yeah, it's a tough call on this one. I think if Pittsburgh's going to win a game, it could be this one. If they don't win this one, they might get swept. So, maybe Pittsburgh is take a flyer on Pittsburgh here, perhaps.
This is an interesting game. As you mentioned, I don't want any part of Bryce Elder. He's terrible. He should not be in this rotation. But the main thing we have not talked about is Pittsburgh just fired their manager. And if Dave Koken was here, he'd be screaming at you saying you got to play Pittsburgh until they lose after they fire the manager.
Someone in the chat said it too, Brian. Someone in the chat made that comment too. Yep.
But if problem is you're banking on the Pittsburgh offense, and the Pittsburgh offense is one of the worst in Major League Baseball. And also the manager they fired was a player-friendly manager. So the only positive I can see out of it is the rest of the team saying, you know what, look at this. This is a great guy. We loved our manager. We cost him his job. Let's buckle down, and we're going to have to get together and avenge that a little bit. And them against the world type of thing, maybe them against management type of thing, because that was a perfect guy, at least that I thought of, for this team in Pittsburgh. Maybe he was too loose. Maybe that was the problem. He was too loose with the players, let them get away with things. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to sit back and watch this one because I don't trust the Pittsburgh bats. And I don't want any part of Elder. So I'm sending it out. But if Pittsburgh comes out this game and shows some spunk and looks like a young team ready to play some ball, maybe that's a team starting to the next game that we can start riding.
If anyone's going to wake up the bats, it's going to be Bryce Elder.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that. Let's go to Ralph in the chat. He says,
you guys know me. I'm not generally an underdog bettor, but if Pittsburgh's going to win a game, it's going to be this one.
I don't disagree. I don't know if I can do it personally, but it would certainly be Pirates or pass. It would certainly be Pirates or pass here for me. I have no interest in betting on Bryce Elder. All right, Cubs calling up Cade Horton. That'll be later this weekend, I believe. But he wants to know, do they continue their momentum tonight versus Clay Holmes? That's what Jameson Taillon on the mound. He's been kind of the one guy I'd prefer to fade in this Cubs rotation right now. It's probably the Mets for me. Let's go to Brian Leonard. It looks like he's got something to say. Mets or Cubs?
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Hats off to Taillon. He's not been bad. Doesn't walk anybody. That's a good thing. But if there's anybody, and Brown is shown, as much as I like Brown has not really put it all together this year. So I'd look to fade him. I'd look to fade Taillon. But these bats in Chicago are just awesome. Clay Holmes, he struggled a little bit. He looked great in the preseason. Struggled a little bit his first couple starts, but now he's starting to get the hang of it. When you've got all those pitches, it's like an embarrassment of riches for Clay Holmes, and his numbers have really gotten better. 2.95 ERA. Whip's still a little high at 1.28. Is expected ERA 2.99, right in there. He doesn't have good extension. He's in the 9th percentile there, but he still gets the best of his pitches. Barrel rate, 89th percentile. Ground ball rate, 83rd percentile. Very important to have a ground ball rate and a swinging strike rate is something you take a look at too. His whiff rate has not been that great, 23rd percentile. But this is a guy, he's got 6 pitches he uses 8% or more. He's a guy that can throw a lot at you. I like him here. The problem is, do you want to lay that type of number? Because if you're just looking at it from a total team standpoint, the Cubs, to me, are better than the Mets. We talked about that earlier, how the Mets had gained all those wins against teams that are under 500. Chicago did it against better teams. I like Holmes here. I need to find a different way to play it because I don't want to lay that 145, 150 number because I still grade out the Cubs being the better team. And we'll see what happens. Maybe somebody else has got a different way to play this. I would be definitely interested in listening to that.
This is a tough one. This is another tight cap for me. I got both pitchers pitching really well and pretty close to each other, actually. Actually, Tejon has a better balls to strikeout ratio. Batting, I have the Mets ranked a little higher, and I have both bullpens playing pretty bad right now. Two great lineups, two bad bullpens. Usually I would think over, but the starting pitchers are in such good form right now. I can't take an over on this, so I'm going to lay off this one.
All right, TB. Well, I'm going to come right back to you. We have about 5 minutes left of the show. This is the first day of the total basis parlay, and we need a leg from you. So right now, I'm just punching this in. We have Rangers plus 1.5 at even money. That's my leg. Brian's leg is the Diamondbacks first 5 money line, I believe minus 125. And we need one from you. So propose a game for us to close the show out with.
It's a game we already covered, so I'll just give my leg real quick and then we'll cover a different game. But I have the Reds team total first 5 innings under 1.5, and that's minus 125.
All right, hold on a second. Red team to say that again. I'm going to make sure this is. I got this. Yep.
Reds first 5 under 1.5.
Team total first 5 under 1.5. Okay, while I'm running that. I want you to. We're going to go to because Craig Ike in the chat
minus 1
specifically for TB Yankees A's, but I'm going to chime in on this one at the end. So you kick us off. That's Will Warren versus Osvaldo Bido out in West Sacramento tonight.
Man, Warren has been so bad this season, but I have him ranked a little bit higher than Bido. So 2 horrible pitchers, and they're playing in a ballpark that's similar to Colorado, not quite that exaggerated. 2 really bad bullpens as well. I mean, talent-wise, they're good bullpens, but recent form, they're both performing pretty bad right now. And 2 lineups that are top 10. I actually have the A's ranked higher than the Yankees. If anything, I'd like to go an over on this. When I ran my numbers, I was like, oh, God, I got to play the over. And then I looked at it, it's 10.5. So I still might go over 10.5 here. The bullpens are just playing poorly. And, when you do overs, you need both teams to contribute. And I think both teams definitely can contribute here, especially with these starting pitchers.
I came up with that team total for the first 5 for Cincinnati is only 1.5 at minus 120. Is that still something that you're fine with?
Absolutely. Hunter Brown. He had a bad start against the White Sox last week, but other than that, you can look at his starts. It's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So, and I think Cincinnati's in poor form. So yeah, first 5 under 1.5 for the Reds is the way I'm going to go. If anyone loses this parlay, it's going to be Adam.
All right. Hey, maybe.
How nice for you to say.
Just a little banter there, guys.
We will see.
I want to know what Bryan thinks about the Yankees A's, though.
I don't have much. The line has gone up to 11 on the total. Yeah, I'm not interested. Warren's a guy that looked good at times in preseason, hasn't put it together yet in the regular season. Both teams can hit. Yeah, it would be over or nothing for me, and I'm not going to lay an over 11 unless I'm playing in Colorado, I don't believe.
All right, so I will talk about this game quickly. Will Warren's been a guy I've been willing to play against. Osvaldo Bido, I'm probably higher on than most. I think the A's kind of just needed a reset day. This happens when you start to win ball games. You start to really rack up those high leverage innings. And for a team, that's the one thing I'll say about the A's. Their bullpen depth is a potential issue. Those top guys, the Mason Millers, Tyler Ferguson's, even Sturger's been pretty good. Like, I think their bullpen is good, like very good. But when you start winning games, especially when you start stringing wins together and you start stringing close wins together, it even takes a toll on the better guys, right? So we saw Miller really labor after, he kind of had a couple outings where he was like 30 pitches. Tyler Ferguson somehow talked them into letting him pitch 4 days in a row. And I just think the A's needed a reset day. They get that reset day. They've got the fresh pen. They're at home. I kind of like A's on the money line here. I think there's some value. I still think Bido is just a superior pitcher to Warren. And this is a team, I still don't think the market is caught up. I watched the entire Las Vegas Aviators game last night. I bet it. They won the game. I just can't believe how much talent is in this organization right now. It's full speed ahead for the A's. I'm telling you, they're going to be the team that is in the mix for a playoff spot in like September. Now, will they fade down the stretch? Maybe, but there is so much talent on this team. And the important thing is there's talent that no one knows the ceiling. No one knows the ceiling of a guy like Nick Kurtz. No one really knows the ceiling of a guy like Jacob Wilson, like a Gunnar Hoagland. Like the list goes on with even like Lawrence Butler, who had a good season last year. He could be like an elite player. I mean, there's so many guys in this organization that are playing right now that almost it seems like they have unlimited potential. I think you got to keep banging away with the A's, especially when they're undervalued, and they're back to being undervalued now because they're playing the Yankees. So A's plus money does make sense. All right. We hit the hour.
Kurt Ferguson, huh?
I'm telling you,
he was a turd last time.
He lobbied. No manager is putting him out there a fourth day in a row unless he's down there in the bullpen saying, give me the ball. And when a guy's pitching as good as he is and he says, give me the ball, I want to go win this game, sometimes even if you don't think it's the right move, you got to do it. I'm certain that's what happened at the end of that game. And it didn't work out. But you kind of love to see that because a lot of these relievers are just making too many business decisions these days. Right, Brian Leonard? They go out one day, they don't want to pitch the next day.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree with everything you said. And the Aviators are in first place in their division. So a lot of talent. Now, normally teams get 2 or 3 stars. They've got a lot of guys that can make it to the next level.
All right. The total bases parlay, the first day, it's going to be a 3-teamer per Tokyo Brandon. It's on me if it loses because I'm starting it with Rangers plus 1.5, even money. Brian Leonard's leg is Diamondbacks first 5, money line, minus 125. And Tokyo Brandon's got the Reds first 5, team total, under 1.5, which is currently minus 125. I ran it at DraftKings. I'm just going to pick a random book that has them all. It's plus 540. So that's what we'll grade at. Obviously, shop it around. You might be able to find better. I will see if we can get a graphic made for that, just so you don't have to, so you can refer back to it. But that is the total bases, the first ever total bases team parlay, 3-teamer plus 540. Hopefully we hit. If not, we'll be back on Tuesday morning to try again. Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. Thank you guys for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. Like and subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Leave a comment that says I don't talk too much, and we'll be good to go. We'll see you guys Tuesday.
Ferguson.